In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your own glider launcher and also give you a slight review of the uh, Corel Draw program for those of you who've used it before. So what I have here is a picture of the glider launcher. This hole will be used to insert a rubber band, and these little dips here are for your fingers. So you would hold on to this, hook your glider to it, and then launch it straight upward with the rubber band. We're going to be working in the program Corel Draw, which you'll need to use your CTE laptops and computer mice. So that will help make the process go a little bit smoother. So as far as this frame here for Corel Draw, we really only need to worry about some tools over here, a few tools over here, and then what's going on up in this space as well. We don't tend to use anything on this far side with all these colors. The most important colors for using the laser etcher is red for cutting through things, blue for making lines and designs that don't cut all the way through but cut into the material, and then black, which we'll use for what's called rastering text and then also images when we get to images as well. In this, I don't really have an image task for you, but you're welcome to add it to your launcher if you'd like, if you have the time. Okay, so what are we looking at? We're looking at a small rectangle of 1.5 by 6 inches, and this is going to become something we're going to color it red, and then another word you're going to need to know is hairline. If any of your lines are not hairline, then the laser etcher doesn't understand what you're asking it to do. And so I'll show you how to do that too. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. For those of you who haven't opened Corel Draw yet, let's start that. Let's start a new file. So on your desktop is Corel Draw. So you'd open this. It takes a bit of time. It's a big program. And while we're waiting for that, oh, that came up pretty nice. Awesome. Okay, let's see if I can get this to, okay, you're going to hit cancel on that. All right, can drag this on over. Okay, so we want to open a new document. Click on that. And then you would put your name on here. So mine would be Marsden, and then a dash, and then what I'm creating. So I'm going to create the glider launcher. That should be good enough. You can also put your class period too. I'm going to choose period 1. We want to make sure that RGB is clicked here. You can make changes later, but that is always nice. And then we can make changes to how big our work surface is. We don't need to worry about that just yet. And then down here, we're just going to click OK. So what you now have is we have this this is the work surface. This is going to be what's going to be etched. And in this case, it's going to be 1/8 or maybe a little thicker birch plywood. A really solid material that we can use for this. I'm going to switch back to my file though, so we can work on this together. Okay, so I've got, this is the pattern, and I'm going to go ahead and just move this off to the side here. Whoops. I'm going to select it, highlight it, and then I'm just going to click and drag this off of our little workspace here. Okay. So, and then it's of choice, but it's kind of nice to work on in these outside areas because this won't get printed. So I can play around with stuff here, and then I can move it in here. So I'm going to start with a rectangle, and the rectangle, all this different shapes you can have over here. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm just going to drag something that looks like a rectangle. I don't need to worry about the size because I'm going to enter it right up in here. So this number right here is going to be our narrowest part. So we're going to change that to 1.5, and we're going to change this to 6. Okay, so now we have it sized right. Now we need to get it to be red hairline. Please don't skip this step. It's always good to do it right now. So we're going to double click on this pen, and up pops this window. We want to change this to red. And you want to see these 3 bars. If you see this, then you just need to click on the 3 bars. We're going to take this slider and move it all the way over to red, okay? So that it's all red, no green, and no blue. That's what the G and the B are, okay? And then we can click the X on here. And then under width, instead of 0.5 point, we're going to choose hairline. And that will tell our program to cut this. We will now want to drag this into our workspace. So I'm going to click on, I want to make sure I'm on the arrow here. I'm just going to click it. We've got those arrows and we just pull this into that space. Okay. All right. Size of the circle for the rubber band. This is, you can choose whatever you want in this one. As far as 0.2 to 0.3, it works pretty well. So over here in the circle, I'm going to bring this on over. I'm going to click this and whoops, click it and then draw myself a circle. Not quite a circle, but up here at the top again, to make a circle, I'm just going to type in 0.2 and 0.2. And now I have a circle. I'm going to do the same things. I'm going to share. I'm going to do the red hairline. So I'll double click on that, change the color to red, sliding that bar all the way over. Oops. And click that X. And then here under width, we're going to change that to hairline. Click OK. And now we can then grab this and move it to about there. Not too close to the edge, kind of centered. It's not that accurate, but it is nice to have it there. All right, a couple things. You can zoom that just for purposes using Corel Draw. If I want to zoom in with my mouse, I can use the scroll wheel. Okay, I can zoom in really close. That'll be nice for details that we'll work on in another project we'll have going on. I can zoom way out. If I get too far zoomed out or too far away from this and I can't find where I'm supposed to be, this is really handy. It's under view. Yes, it's under view. And you can click zoom to fit and it'll bring it right back to where all your pieces are now visible. And then I can do some clicking and dragging. I can use these little bars here to get where I want to be to, and then I can use the enlarging. Okay. All right. So now we want to do these little oval shapes, the hand grips, these little indentations. And so here's how we do those. So I'm going to grab a circle and it says ovals for hand grip about 0.8 by 0.25. So again, I can just draw an oval. And then up here, I'm going to change the numbers to 0.8. And oops, wrong direction. Let's go 0.25 this way, the width, and then this will be 0.8. Okay, not too big. Then again, this has to be red. It has to be red hairline. And we're going to change this color again. Ta-da. All the way out here. Okay. Hairline. I can't tell you how many times people forget to do this and it just won't cut. It's a big problem. Okay, I want 4 more of those. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to do Control C and then I'm going to do Control V. And then I'm just going to use my arrow key and bring this down. And I don't want them to be crossing over. I want to give a little gap. And that I've got a little note there to do that. And then I can do the same thing again. Control copy, Control V, which is paste. And then I'm using my arrow key. Now the arrow key allows me to keep these up and down straight. It doesn't, if I use my mouse, I'd be constantly having to readjust these. And we might have to, but if we can keep them together, that'd be great. Okay, I'm going to bring these a little closer. All right. And then again, Control C, Control V, and then arrow down. Okay. What would be really nice if all of these worked, let me zoom in a bit, if these all work together in a group. So let's see. Now, if you wanted to, you can use that measuring tool and you could actually measure those distances. But for this, it's okay. I think this needs to be a little wider. Okay. So I want to group these because I want to then move them over to here and use them together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select them all. And then under objects, I'm going to come down here to group and I'm going to select group. And then what I can do is then I can pick this up by any of these. This is going to, you see the words changing, quadrant, quadrant, edge, but I've got the double arrows. So I bring this over and then I'm going to kind of just eyeball where I want this on the edge of my rectangle. Okay. So arrow keys up a bit. I don't want it down that low, and I want it to be a little bit in. So I'm going to do an arrow key click there until it looks pretty good. Now, if I was doing this for super accuracy, then I could grab, you see how this center is? I can grab the center, and then I can slide it on over, and it would put it right on that line. And then I know that those ovals are exactly centered. Okay. Now, this is pretty cool. This is a cool tool. First of all, we need to go back and ungroup these. Whoa, don't do it that way. Control Z. All right. I want to click that group and I want to ungroup them now. So I'm going to go back under objects and I'm going to ungroup them because I need to do something with each of these very specifically. So over here, this is a crop tool. That's that symbol for cropping. But if I click this little triangle, I'm going to find a virtual segment delete. It acts like a little X-Acto knife. And so now what I can do, zoom in, I can then take this and I can cut out the parts I don't want in this. Like I don't want this outside. So I can click on that. It'll take that off. And I also don't want this line. I want it to be this indent. Now, I did not put these two things together, so I didn't make a point. So now I can also do this all together. I can grab it, pull it apart. They both cut out. And I want to do that for the last two. Drag and cut. Drag and cut. Wicked. Awesome. All right, go back to your pointer. I would group this all now at this point. Let's group all of these in. I'm going to use my view zoom to fit. And then I'm going to go ahead and select all of this. Go back under object and now group this because I don't want any of these pieces to go moving around and shifting positions while I do something else. Now there's something else in here. I want to make sure so I can zoom in and see. No, it's good. All right. So we've got our little grooves in here. Again, this is customized. You can figure out, oh, I need this a little deeper. You can do all sorts of little things with this. Make some changes, drag and pull. Whatever you'd like that makes more sense to you. Okay. Last thing, you need a label on this. So we need to know whose this is when it comes off the printer and when it's, found laying around. So let's go back to the view and zoom to fit. And let's go to the text tool. So text tools, usually in a document or something like this, we click and drag. But in this case, we don't click and drag. We just click on the screen and start typing. And for this case, it has to be your name. So I'm going to do Miss Marsden. Okay. And it is a glider launcher. Okay. And it will be really helpful if you put what period it is that this is for. So we know where to put it. So I'm always period 1. Now you can change all this. I'm going to zoom in here. I don't like this font. I want something fancier. Okay. I just need something a little fancier. So I'm going to select all of this. Oops. Double click. And then up in here, instead of Arial, I'm going to pick something else that suits my fancy and is legible. You can also change the size of it. Okay. I always like Bradley, but it's a little too small for this project. I want something a little bigger. What Cooper? How about Cooper? That looks kind of cool. I'm going to stick with Cooper Black. We'll see if 24 point is going to work well. What we need to do now, though, is we need to get it so that instead, if I drag this over and it's going to go this way, that doesn't work for this. So I need to turn it. I need to turn it 90 degrees. Well, that's what this space is for. See that little circle there? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to change this to 90 and click enter. Okay. If I don't like that turn and twist, if it's not what I like, I can always redo it and redo it another way. But then I can click on this, grab the arrow, click, and drag it over to my launcher and then see if it fits. Oh, that's a little too big. Let me go here and select it all. Whoa. And let's do some bringing it down. Or I can change font. It doesn't matter. Okay, there we go. Miss Marsden's glider launcher. Now it's black, and this black can stay like this because it doesn't have to be a hairline. The computer understands that black is something we call raster. If I wanted to put an image, that's always kind of fun too. I think I'm going to move this over. Oh, I can't because I've grouped it. If I wanted to add an image, then I would just find something that, let me show you how to do that. So I've opened a Google page, and in the search, I'm going to type in motorcycle. Oh, look at that. I've already done it before. Black and white. So what's important to know about Corel Draw is that it will not print colored images, and it will not print complicated images. So if we look right here, this may not print out too well because it's not kind of a black, it's not lines. This won't print out as well at all because it's an image. There are ways to deal with some of these, and I can show you another tutorial if you want to learn how to make something else into a cutout or a drawing on here. But if I go here where it says drawings or clip art, these are two really good ones. So I'm going to click drawing and see if there's anything in here that sparks my curiosity or I want to put on there. Oh yeah. So I kind of like this. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to copy image. And then I'm going to go here to my Corel page and I'm going to right click again and click paste. And that's way too big. So I'm going to use this arrow. I use the corner arrows because it'll keep the dimensions. If I do this arrow right here, it'll squish it. So corner dimensions, kind of bring that down. I'm going to zoom in and see if that's even going to work very well. But, oh yeah, and I can drag that on over and that makes me happy. And I can do the same things with it. I can turn it to a 90. I can switch this to 90 and see if it'll spin around. It will. And whoops, but it covers my hole. That's not a good idea. So let's go back on this one. We want to go, let's see. I can also just make it smaller. Okay, there we go. So that is how to make your glider launcher. Have fun with it. Learn from this because we'll have a chance to use Corel Draw again in our next and nearly final project for this semester. Okay, well, happy creating.